What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another panel show. Sai, Ashmatic, can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Oh, good. We're live and direct. We are here, obviously, for a panel show. We got Sai and Ashmatic. Sai, how you doing today, my friend?
Guys, great to see you as always. I'm happy as Larry. How are you guys doing?
I'm on top of the world, quite literally on top of the Premier League, on top of the world, international break, and we're already clucking for some more Angeball to come back. Ashmatic, Ash, how you doing, bro?
Bro, I'm alive, man. I'm alive. I'm good. I'm well, and I'm yeah, man. We're top, man. I don't know how to act. I'll be honest. I don't know if I should be moving mad or excited, or if I should be looking over my shoulder. We are Spurs after all, so.
Ash, Sai was asking about your plant. What plant is it?
Plant, this one here. Well, I couldn't even tell you, man. I said, well, I need a little decor. I need something nice, so I just idea quick.
Just brushing up when he's coming on We Are Tottenham TV. I appreciate it.
It's up a little bit.
But Ash, you're saying you don't know how to act. Well, Ange says get carried away, so that's what I'm doing.
Woo! It's not easy. I want to join it. I'm on the cusp. I want to cusp.
Well, we've got a lot of talking points today, so let's get straight into it. And there's been a bit of a narrative outside of Spurs saying, yeah, you got lucky in this game, lucky in that game, the Liverpool game. I'm even hearing them saying we got lucky in the Arsenal game to get a draw. But Sai, do you think there's been an element of luck to the start of the Spurs season, or are we where we're supposed to be right now?
Obviously, like there's some instances of luck in the sense maybe during the Liverpool game as an example, but I think in general, I think we deserve to be where we are. Like that, at the end of the day, it's hard work, isn't it? Hard work, dedication, passion, commitment, all the things that we've been saying for so many years that have been lacking and just non-existent in the Spurs team and the club in general for so long now. And that's just come back into fruition. And I think this is the first time in the new stadium I've actually enjoyed going, first of all. No long journeys home, 3 or 4 hours, traveling all the way back down south just after nonsense performance. And even the ones we won over the last few years have been really difficult to watch and enjoy.
And just so great, Si, that he's made your distances home shorter.
Honestly, trust me, there's nothing worse than a really, really long journey home after the games. So yeah, as I said, I'm enjoying it, and I think the main thing from the question is that I truly believe we deserve to be where we are at the end of the day. Sometimes, and I think the Luton game was a perfect example. In the past, we would have crumbled, and I think that it's shown a different side to us. That actually, in the nitty gritty areas that we have to play, we still look really strong, professional, and trying to still entertain the fans throughout 90 minutes. Albeit, no disrespect, is Luton. It may have been a bit different with a potential stronger team, but overall, you can't complain. And I think the whole football sphere, other than Arsenal fans, probably do agree that they're enjoying watching Tottenham, and we deserve to be where we are.
Ash, do you feel like we're creating our own luck at the moment? We are where we're supposed to be?
I think that's what it is, because when Arsenal scored that goal against Man City, they were like, you have to kind of create your own luck. That's what the pundits were saying, at least. So when it comes to Spurs, why is it any different? Why are we getting differential treatment to everyone else? That's my question. And I feel like, should we be at the top? I've said it before. Look, if you actually look at Pochettino's side, right? Peak Pochettino, I think 2016, 2017, would you say that?
Yeah.
I would say when we were wearing that, that blue top. Remember, it was like a half blue like that.
Last season at White Hart Lane.
Last season at White Hart Lane. Now you're with me, right?
Yeah.
People can read. Listen. So in that season, right, would you argue the start 11 was
100%. 100%.
And it was a young squad, right? Look at the bench. What was the bench saying? The bench wasn't saying too much, was it?
George, Kevin, and Kudus.
Didn't rate Vincent Janssen? You didn't rate Janssen 17 million?
Well, you know what? Kane got injured, and for a long time, Janssen had to step in. Do you know what I'm saying? And I remember Song went up top at certain times. It just feels very similar. I'm just saying, the mood is right. Like the stadium's feeling buzzing. You know what? We're loving big and says they're playing rhythms at the end. It was a. I was there, bro. The energy was. I bet you missed it. It was a party. It was a massive.
I'm still mad at that. I'm still mad at it, Ash.
The point I'm making is everyone's saying, "Oh, the squad's wafer thin," but in 2015, 2016, the squad was wafer thin then. But it still did damage. We still bust up top 4. We still got third. You see what I'm trying to say? And I'm thinking, with Conte, we were pushing third. He quit when we could have gone third. Now, some would argue to say that this team is better than what Conte had. Like he's making the fullbacks are actually creating now. I think between our back line, we scored between 7 and 8 goals between that 5 back line. So we've already got goals coming from that back line that we never had before. So we needed a keeper. We got that. We needed a defensive midfielder. That was a big issue for Spurs. Guess what? We got that. We needed a creative midfielder desperately when we were playing for that top 4 race with Conte, trying to push for the top 3 or the title. And we got a creative midfielder, did we not? Now, instead of having wing backs creating, we've actually got wingers creating that position. But it's not just the wingers that are creating. It's coming from all over the pitch. And guess what? Last season, Son wasn't firing. This season, Son is firing. Are we that lucky? Or are we pushing on from Conte's original team where we were pushing into that Southampton capitulation? I'm just asking questions. I could be wrong. I'm saying they're young. They're the young Poch team. This is a young Poch team. Am I moving mad? I don't know. Am I deluded? Am I delusional? Am I living a dream? Is this a Disney dream? Because if it is, don't wake me up. Don't wake me up. I don't want to know.
Sim, how are you feeling? Do you think we are getting a bit lucky at the moment?
The only element, apart from the Liverpool game, I don't think any result has been a lucky result. I think we've deserved all the results we've gotten. I think the Liverpool game, obviously, we had the referee decision with the goal going our favour, and I thought if Matip wasn't going to put it in his own net, we probably could have played for a month of Sundays, and we probably wouldn't have scored, to be honest. We didn't look like scoring. That's reality. That's what I saw in those final 20 minutes. We did not look like we were going to score. So I think from that point of view, we probably got away with one with the Liverpool game. I think we got lucky with that. But all the other results, I think not only do the results speak for themselves, I think you look at the stats, they speak for themselves. When you're watching the game, you're never really watching the game thinking, oh, we're struggling here, or we're really not playing well. We're getting really lucky. In each of those games, we're either the better team or we're very much in the game, and we're very much on top a lot of the times and playing good football.
But would you not say like maybe we were lucky not to go in behind at Manchester United in the first half when they were putting it on us? We were unlucky. We were lucky not to go in maybe 2 goals down at Arsenal at half-time when they were having all those easy chances.
Game's 90 minutes.
Yeah, I know that. But we were lucky not to maybe be further down than we were at the time.
Yeah, all right. Luton were lucky we weren't 4-0 up, you know what I mean? And then people say we were lucky to win that game, but we were unlucky not to. It goes both ways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
100%.
I think the Arsenal game, yeah, they missed chances, but that's their fault. When we miss chances, no one turns around and says, oh, Tottenham were unlucky, they missed chances. They say, okay, you weren't good enough. That's what they say when we miss chances. And the same goes for Arsenal. And you know what? In every game, who's to say what would have happened if United took the lead or if Arsenal took the lead? We don't know what would have happened. We still had a second half. And what I've seen from this Tottenham team is that every time we've had a struggle or a challenge in game, we've been able to find solutions and been able to adapt our game and end up gaining superiority and gaining the advantage. So who's to say that even if we go 1-0 down against United, we couldn't have turned that around? And who's to say even against Arsenal, even if it's 2-0, I'm not saying we definitely would have, but who's to say we wouldn't have? Because everyone says, oh, they missed chances. Yeah, but Brennan Johnson also forced a mad save out of Raya. Maybe we could have been 2-1 up at halftime and maybe we would have gone on to win the game. So I don't think any game has been lucky. Where I think a bit of an element of luck has come in is the fact that if you look at the fixture list, we've played the bottom 4 teams at the moment. If you look at the current bottom 4 teams, we've got 4 wins out of 4, and of our 8 games, 50% have been against the bottom 4. So that is the reality of the situation. But it's not luck that you win those games. We deserve to win all those games, and you have to earn those wins. And it's not easy to get all those wins that we have. But I guess it's a bit, I wouldn't say it's fortunate they've fallen together, but I would just say that's just the nature of the fixture list. We've played the bottom 4. Maybe we're fortunate that we're currently I wouldn't say we're fortunate we're top of league, but I wouldn't say it's any. Sorry, I want to rephrase that. We're not fortunate. We're not fortunate to be top, but maybe us being top is a bit misleading. That's what I would say, because of the fact that we've played 50% of our games against bottom four. Maybe it's not a fair representative of where we truly are in terms of Premier League standing. Because once we face like the likes of, even better teams, Villa, Newcastle. Like there's these teams who are really good quality, but they're not like one of the top teams. So you don't have the same like motivation as we did against like an Arsenal and Liverpool to really up your game, but they sometimes can be just as hard as those games because of the quality those teams have. Once we play these kind of teams, and if we're still like consistently winning those games, then I'll be like, okay, we could be in for something. Right now, I'm delighted where we're going. We're not fortunate to be top, but I don't think being top of the league is a true measure just yet of where we really are as a team right now.
Yeah, but what? Just to interrupt, sorry to cut you. Just to say one thing. Normally, what will happen is we will get the lucky win, or we'll do a big result against Liverpool or Man United, and we'll play like a Sheffield United and a Luton, and then we will wet the bed. That was typical Spursy in the past. We normally don't finish our dinner.
Yeah, but was it beating Man City last season and then losing to Burnley? Was that 2 seasons ago under Conte? 2 seasons ago,
but that's a prime example where we don't put away, and now all of a sudden we're dominating the teams we're meant to be dominating, and actually we're getting the W. The W is more important than anything, because at the end of the day, you can argue, say, "Oh, you're lucky," but that the table doesn't lie.
Do you think we're riding a wave at the moment, Ash?
Definitely, I think like the culture, the energy, the way the managers come in, I think he's galvanized the club from top to bottom. I think it's the first time when you've had not just the senior team, but you've had the under 21s, under 19s, under 18s, all top of their leagues. And now
everyone's top. We just need the women's to be top.
That's it, bro. We are actually cooking. If there's a definition of what cooking is, then I think Ange's definitely redefined the word cooking. I think we're doing a Barbie right now, because the way the flames are throwing out everywhere, we're definitely doing something right. And I like the fact that we've got the structure of the club right now. Everyone's on the same hymn sheet. Everything seems crystal clear, and there's no ambiguity. Everyone understands what their job role. And I feel like the players are enjoying playing their own football. They enjoy going to training, and they're all kind of competitive. Even the ones where we think, this is a given 11. Even like those players, they're playing with their highest level. Like Maddison's playing the best football of his life, in my opinion. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, everyone's talking about, I didn't know Maddison could dribble. Do you know what I'm saying? Wow, Basuma, I think he's better than what he was at Brighton. So even starting 11, I think they've leveled up to another level. And that's everything to do with the manager coming in. And he said it himself. He likes projects where things aren't going well and he has to fix them. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's what he's done all his career. But to bring it back to a point that you said before, Ash, I want to ask Sai. You look at the Arsenal game against Man City, they score with 5 minutes to go. Martinelli takes a shot that's never going in, and it deflects off a Man City player and it hits the back of the net. The end of the Liverpool game, Pedro Porro puts in a cross, it hits Matip and goes into the back of the net. Why are the narratives of those two results completely different? Like, they're saying to Arsenal fans like, oh wow, they stuck in till the end, they got the victory, what a win. And then for Spurs, they're just saying, oh, it's just a lucky win. Yeah, they've beaten Liverpool's unbeaten run of, 15, 16 games or something like that. But it's just lucky. They're going to fall off at some point. Why are the two narratives twisted like that?
I don't know. I think it's always been like that, particularly with those kind of teams. I know there's a lot of saltiness going around all the time. Even recalling last season, that whole big battle between City and Arsenal, the amount of games where Arsenal was scoring either in the last minute or last minutes of injury time, and people were like praising that rather than saying it's lucky, etc. And that's exactly the point Sim was probably making just a minute ago, in the sense that is it really defined as luck, or is it just the pure determination that the end of the game is when the whistle goes, and that's how long you should fight for. But I think I think a lot of fans outside of Tottenham always enjoy when we're losing and not doing well. And I think this is just the case of us doing well, perhaps being in a position where we never thought we would be, let's be honest, before the season started. And I think a lot of clubs around us are feeling the same, that actually maybe they haven't progressed as well. But at the end of the day, we're 10 games in. if that. And it's so early. I don't really look at the table, to be honest, till at least sort of January/February.
Who's going to tell him that we're top?
Yeah, otherwise I go mad, like in my head. But you have to enjoy this moment. And ultimately, like, I've never cared. Certainly don't care what Arsenal fans think ever. Apart from my mother, who is an Arsenal fan, so I have to listen to her. But I know. But there's outside of that, of course, like you just can't listen to this nonsense. At the end of the day, especially the media attention, and particularly in the FA, there's always a load of Arsenal and Liverpool outlets within those industries and sectors anyway. So you've got to take it on the chin that a lot of that just comes out from a lot of noise. At the end of the day, Spurs fans, I think, have always been slightly different to a lot of fan bases. Yes, we're delusional most of the time, but I think we've got a level head and respectful to other clubs and what's going on in the leagues and things. So, for me, I don't really pay too much attention to it. I think it's just you're always going to get that. And it's just that tribal aspect of football, isn't it? And I think that's something that we always enjoy as fans anyway. It's just a bit of banter usually. In the nitty-gritty conversations that I've had with Arsenal fans, they've all in there, when you get them by themselves and stuff, they're always like
when they're not really in front of people trying to show off.
Yeah, Tottenham are playing well, but then if you look at the live chat, it's a bombardment of nonsense and scammers and stuff. So yeah, it's just part of it, isn't it? And it's good fun, and it's a testament to what we're doing. At the end of the day, it's a testament. There's a Bart Simpson book I used to have when I was younger, and he always said, like, when people like go against you or they say things against you, it's actually a form of flattery. So we just got to look at it like that. So El Barto, thank you.
Yeah, did you take it in that way last season as well?
No.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. And Si, seeing as you haven't been looking at the league table, we are top of the league right now, 8 games in. But if you cast your mind back to this time last season, Arsenal were top of the league and they had finished 5th the season before. And everyone was saying, no chance Arsenal are going to fight for the title. But months and months progressed up until April when they started to fall, and they were in a title race up until that time. Ash, do you think that could be the similar story to what Tottenham are doing this season? Can we fight for the title this year?
I'm not going to lie, yeah. They won't tell you in real life, like Simon says, but in the secret, dark rooms, somewhere beneath the floorboards, a couple Arsenal men are whispering, yo, they said that about us. Like, what you just said? That might be in it, for real. And I'm like, bro, you know what? I'm trying to do the humble thing, like, yeah, this is Spursy, I'm not sure. Like, they're like, no, listen, watch. And the funny thing is, I don't mind being the underdog. And I think a lot of Spurs fans are with me on this one. We don't want the spotlight. So all this luck talk, bring it on. I'm here for it. Because the more we get under the radar, the more less people look at us. And the more Ange just pushes the squad, gives them the self-belief. Listen, we're going to do great things. And I think there was a big difference between Arsenal and Spurs' kind of like rebuild or rejuvenation or build, whatever you want to call it, project. I think Arteta had to do a lot more, and I think Ange inherited a bigger, higher quality squad when he came in, and so he didn't have the same problems that he had, let's say, at Japan, where he had a 40-year-old centre back. Do you know what I'm saying? He had to prove himself. Nobody knew who he was in Japan, and this squad was 15th, and he had to get rid of ABC. Then fast forward to Celtic, same thing again. No one didn't really know who he was. The squad that he inherited wasn't that great. Do you know what I'm saying? This time, as I said before, this squad just needed to have a few reshuffles, a bit of belief pushed inside them, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Could we do the unthinkable? I mean, I don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx it. I'm a bit superstitious. I'm not going to lie to you. So the way I've got my toes crossed like this, black cats under the ladders, I'm not stepping no cracks. I'm just praying before I go to bed every night, that Spurs can do something special this season and just prove everyone wrong. I really understand why we are pessimistic and we don't want to say like, yeah, you know what, we could be, but you know what, you have to be in it to win it, Ben. Let's face it. And at the moment, we're in it. And I do understand that, we haven't played the Newcastles. We haven't played the Aston Villas. But guess what? I think we could do them. I'm not going to lie to you. Newcastle, at the moment, where are they in the league? I know they had a harder start than us, and that's the reason that reflects where they are in the league. But last season, they were drawing so many games, and they were getting hyped up. Oh, Newcastle this, Newcastle that. We're winning our games. We're winning our games. We're drawing a couple, but the majority of games we're winning. I think we look better than Newcastle at the moment. They've had a longer time to kind of put their build in place. But I think we were fighting. Before Conte went, again, I go back to Conte, before he went, we were pushing Newcastle. We were pushing Newcastle United. And now I'm no surprise United are where they are and we are where we are, because we just have a better 11, in my opinion. And if we can build on that, then why not? Why not? Like, I just think that, look, if you check it, goalkeeper, tick. Centre backs, tick. Fullback, tick. Midfield, booming. It's the front three where the question mark is. Do you know what I'm saying? If we can get some type of consistency, we get proper wingers in. Oh, I'm scared for the rest of the league. Anyhow, we get anything decent. Booming on the right-hand side and on the left, we're still in the middle. Oh, I pass it on to someone else. I don't want to carry it.
We're going invincible, Ash. We're going invincible.
I don't want to get gassed. I need to calm this
down.
It sounds like you're gassed already, bro.
Listen, let me read back. Sorry, guys. Right, it's not there yet. It's not there yet. The bench is thin, but I go back to seasons before when we were peak Poch. We didn't have a super bench. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And we still did bits. And so that narrative of, well, one injury away. I remember last season, everyone kept saying, oh, Kane might get injured. Did Kane get injured last season? Did Kane get injured the season before? Do you know what I'm saying? He banged 30 goals. How many goals could Son get? I don't know. I'm just throwing questions out there. I don't know. Obviously, the downside is Richie, innit? Like, but anyway.
Does it bring us back, though, to the question before about luck? Do we need luck to go our way in terms of injuries? Maybe like we did that year, last season at White Hart Lane, I think it was, where we just barely got an injury all season.
Was it Vertonghen or Toby that got injured?
Vertonghen and Kane had a couple of injuries, but apart from that...
Two key areas, the main striker and your main centre-backs, gone. Do you know what I'm saying? And we still did the business. So what are you telling me, fan base? Like,
it's because that centre-back came in and did an amazing job. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Kevin Wimmer, yeah.
Kevin Wimmer, that's who it was. And guess what? Eric Dyer was in that side. So,
CDM, no? Yeah? Was he CDM that year?
He was. I think he was
in the back three.
Back three.
Back three. So I don't know. That's in an attacking side. I'm not saying that Dyer's going to do this. I'm not saying that because I don't want to get clipped. But I'm just saying, innit? I'm just throwing that question out. A lot worse has happened, and we're still pushing. And guess what? It's a first season, and I still think Angie's saying like the team is still kind of going through that process. I still haven't got them quite where I want them. So guess what? When he gets to the level where he wants, it's going to be crazy. That's all. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Nah, you're not wrong. Sai, talk to me. Do you think we can do it this year? Can we fight for a title?
Most seasons when we're doing terribly, I'm saying that we'll win the title. So this season, I'm a bit more balanced.
I think since coming on this show, Sai, I think last season was probably the only season you didn't say that we were going to win the title.
I think I was just depressed in general about how it all over the place. So this season, as I said, it's really early, and there's other reasons why I look at the table a bit later on in the season because it's just not defined yet. And to the points of everyone saying, well, we played these teams and not these teams yet. And I think you have to have that at least 50% of the games done to understand where you are. And at the end of the day, home and away games obviously play their part in certain ways. But my feet are firmly on the ground. I'm definitely excited about what's occurring. I'm not suggesting there's going to be a Leicester season in front of us in that sense, in our favour for once. But for sure, I think the real key things for me is what Ash said about injuries. I think that's really important. It is slightly thin. That does concern me all the time. And particularly if Maddison comes out, yes, of course, there's some relatively good players that can come in. So I think if we can get ourselves to January and hope, which has never really happened in the past, to be honest, that, Mr. Levy and everyone sees what's in front of us, like the opportunity to take advantage of this season, as well as developing for the season to come, of course. I think that's the critical area for me. So like I'm always in my heart, always saying that, we'll go and win this, we'll go and win that, of course. But my head being firmly on planet Earth today is saying like, we just got to take it step by step. But, we've seen the ethos of the team that can go a long way in any football club. So all it takes is a slip up. I think the main thing from us is, if we do have a bad day, like a really bad day, and we have a loss, how that is reacted to. I think that's the key critical part there. Do we fall apart, or does that belief and confidence come back in straight away? If you remember, like Pochettino, probably in the mid-era, where we just won, and I forgot what it meant to lose. I couldn't remember the last time we lost, and then we lost the game. But then literally next game was as if that last game didn't happen. And that's the mentality we need. So if we can continue that, absolutely we could challenge. But I'm not going to say challenging until way after December. So sorry to spoil the party, but I have to keep a bit of a level head despite Ash's amazing optimism right next to me on the screen.
So you talk about what we need to do potentially in January if we're still in this position to really kick on. What positions do you think are the most vital positions that we need to fill in January?
I think Ash nailed it on the head, really. The winger side, I think, is still a bit, I wouldn't say weak. I love Kulusevski. I think he's an incredible talent, and the way that he glides past people is very unnoticed a lot of the time. I think, obviously, Brennan Johnson coming in, that's a bit of a shame that he's injured, because we can't see the capability just yet of what he's able to do. So I think there's a bit of an orientation as especially as Son seems to come off quite regularly, not necessarily early in the games, but they're time managing him, obviously. Richie is the big question mark for me. It was a bit of a shame. I do like him, obviously, as a person, and I think that he's got a lot to offer, but it's just not working. Whether it's just one of those things, he just needs to go, whatever. I know loads of people have different opinions on that. So I think the wing side of it is very imperative, and it really depends on how Lo Celso and if Gil will come in at some point in the next few matches, because we haven't seen them this season, obviously, and there's potential opportunities that they come now the injuries are done. It'd be really interesting to see if they slot in and do a really good job. If they do, then that almost ticks that box that, okay, we've got potentially 2 or 3 areas covered already in those positions. The centre back is a bit of a question, because we've got 2 solid defenders for the first time since the Jan and Toby days, in my opinion. It's absolutely phenomenal to watch Van der Ven and Romero. They're absolutely incredible. I love watching them, the enthusiasm, the passion. So I think if one of those to get injured, I think it could be a bit of a question mark. Now Sanchez is gone, which is actually a good thing in my head, but it leaves us short. And we know Dyer's there again. Don't know what to think about that. But and then there's a load of academy players to potentially come in, whether that's too early or not for them as well. So I think that's an area of interest to strengthen. I don't think we need to do anything with wing back side of things at the moment. So they're the kind of key areas for me in January. But we're talking about like 1 or 2 players, I think, in my head, because I do honestly really want to see some of the academy players coming through. I think they've had a phenomenal amount a few years, and some of them deserve a chance. You're not going to get those chances. You keep bringing more and more players in, but it depends on the level that we're at, or we're trying to achieve to, or where we think we are in January, that will decide that. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of Spurs fans are delivering a lot of trust and confidence in this guy. He'll know when to do it and what we do and don't need. So we've got to trust that momentum and that decision making. But they're the sort of like 2 or 3 areas. But as I said, just 1 or 2 players, I think. That's all that's kind of like putting me on edge a bit at the moment. Like if we get injuries in those areas, we could have a bit of trouble.
Sim, at what stage do you think, because obviously we're not getting taken seriously in terms of the title at the moment, at what stage, if we keep going the way we're going, are we going to be taken seriously from our rivals?
No, I never took Leicester seriously up until like April time. Like I think that's probably, and honestly, I think
when were Arsenal taken seriously last season?
Arsenal were probably taken seriously come March time, February, March, and then we're like, okay, they're seriously in this race. I think no one could really ignore them from that point on, and we're gonna have to be there at like probably March time, like second half of the season, doing consistently well. We probably have to get reinforcements in January as well. It's going to be a long road if that is going to be the case. I'm not looking at the title right now. Champions League football is a good season for us. That should be our aim. I don't think putting the pressure of any sort of title race is going to help. Obviously, if things conspire to the fact later in the season where we're up in the race, and maybe sometimes it happens, there's opportunities that open up and you have to just take it. A bit like Leicester. No one expected Leicester to challenge, and just an opportunity opened up. And, I remember Ranieri through the season said, look, this is a very unusual season. We're up there challenging for the title, and it's a special season. And next season, things are going to go back to normal. But while we're here, we have to give everything to try and take advantage of this scenario. And the fact that we're not in Europe, we've seen it before, how teams not in Europe, especially of like one of the top teams, it can really benefit them. I remember Chelsea under Conte won in Europe, and they went from 10th to winning the league. Obviously, Leicester won in Europe that season where they won the league. I remember Arsenal the season when Arteta bottled top four on the last couple of games. They were not in Europe that season. That really benefited them. So the fact that we're not in Europe is definitely going to be to our advantage to achieve our goals. But it's in terms of actually challenging for a title, I just think we're relying on way too much. And maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll just go through the whole season with minimal injuries. And if we can keep that first 11 together, we're a match for anyone. I think we showed that already. And I think we can see that with the team that we're developing and how we play. If we can keep that first 11 together, we are a match for any team in the Premier League right now. But if one or two centre-backs get injured, if Basuma gets a long-term injury, I think that really affects us. Madison, if even Udogie, I think, if he picks up a long-term injury, that would be a big problem for us. So we are very dependent on keeping that first 11 together, because I really feel like, we've even seen it in games, when we've had to use subs, the quality of the team is definitely not as good. We've seen that. Yeah. And we've seen that especially in the Fulham game as well. When we've had to use a squad, there's been problems. So I think I would love to sit here and say, yeah, we're going to be challenging for the title, but I could come here, I'll come back on the stream tomorrow, and during the international break, Van der Ven's picked up a injury, and all of a sudden, it's been derailed. And it's that thin, it's that tight, I think, to us being a consistent team, and all of a sudden us having problems in the starting 11. So I don't think we're in a title race. I think if we're still in it by January and then we get reinforcements in, then that's maybe a time to say maybe we're going to be serious. But right now, considering as well 50% of our games have been against the bottom four, I just think it's way too early to say Tottenham can challenge for a title.
For me, I think you're going to learn a lot about this team over the next few weeks, especially with no Basuma in the next game. I think you saw in the pre-season game against Barcelona, you can put maybe a fringe team or a second string team with Basuma in there and we still look good. But then you look at that Fulham game where we played the second string without Basuma and it just looked completely disjointed. So I feel like it's going to say a lot about this team without Basuma in the next game. And we're going to probably play 2 games without Basuma over the next 4 or 5 games with him walking that tightrope again. So I think we're just hanging by a thread at the moment in terms of injuries in so many different areas of the pitch. That's the problem. It's not just one area. It's just so many different areas. Like my brother mentioned, like you all mentioned, to be honest, the centre-back area, the striker area, the midfield, like literally in every area of the pitch, apart from maybe wingers, where now we're on our last legs on the wingers because we've got injuries there. I just feel like it's just too much of a tall order to talk about anything like a title, to be honest, right now. And I think if Spurs do get that 4th spot in the league, I think it'll be an incredible season from where we've come from the last couple of years. But if we can get Bentancur back to a really good level as soon as possible, if we can get a few reinforcements in January in like the centre-back area, the full-back area, then I think with a bit of luck coming our way, I think it can happen. I think we can fight until the end, maybe not till the very end, but at least until like the last stage of March, of April, because I'm looking at the fixtures. And in April, the fixtures they're actually scary, like how mad they are. I think we've got like everyone all in a row from Newcastle, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool. So, I mean, it's a very scary run of fixtures. But can you imagine, like, if we actually go on a run in that stage of the season? Because you remember all those years ago when we made it under top 4, when we lost that semi-final to Portsmouth, everyone's like, oh, we've got Arsenal and Chelsea on our next 2 games. There's no chance of top 4, season's over. But you can galvanize yourself and actually pull through in these games. And if we do that at that stage of a season, you're talking about who knows what can happen. But go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that everyone looks at that period as being scary, but I think the boys are looking at it and thinking, I love it because what normally happens is you play those relegation teams or those teams that got nothing to play for, and then that's when the results start going iffy. But when you've got like the strong teams and you have to get up for it, and that's when people think, oh, Tottenham aren't going to turn up. That's when Tottenham turn up, bro. It's weird. When you don't expect us to turn up, that's when Tottenham start doing, like, what the hell? And like, no one puts up in any contention. And then all of a sudden, like every season I've seen Neville, Carragher, they never have us in the top 4. Never, ever. Only when we're in the top 4, then they might have us in it. But then there might be like a United coming up that have signed someone crazy, or Chelsea has done a madness in the window, and then all of a sudden we're nowhere near the top 4. And then that's when we're like, when people don't look at us is when we perform. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's why we want people to keep writing Spurs off. We don't want to be in people's forefronts of their minds, because that's when, you know, Spurs kind of get too ahead of themselves and we throw it away. How many times in the past, like, well, ever since you've been a Spurs fan, you go into this game being like, oh, we're going to win 4-0, 100% it's a win, and then we lose. And then we lose.
Luton's a prime example. Everyone thought we were going to smash Luton 4-0, 5-0, 4-1. We're going to concede one, but we'll smash them. And then look what happened, 1-0.
I predicted 1-0.
I did 3-0, but it should have been. In those first 4 minutes of the game, we should have been 4-0 up.
Obviously, if Richarlison had a shoe boots on.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next topic. We're going to talk about Spurs Player of the Season so far, and I think there are so many candidates to talk about. We'll start off with you, Si. Who's yours?
I don't know.
Put him on the spot.
It's quite a few. I mean, there's almost like 2 dimensions into this, because there's some players that have really stepped up from previous seasons, and then there's players that have come in this summer and felt like that they've been playing for us for seasons already, which is unbelievable, really. Just the testament to the building that happened in the summer and the belief within everyone. So, I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint like one individual, to be honest.
You're gonna have to, Si.
Player of the
you
season.
ain't leaving this stream until you've pinpointed an individual, Si.
I've got to go now. Sorry, guys. What one player of the season stand out, to be honest? I think at the moment, I'm just delaying.
At the moment, it
do
might
really
be
well in the
the
House
one.
of
Don't worry, Si. We all got all day.
Yeah. Ash, did you want to say something?
Yeah.
I'll probably go with Maddison, guys.
Hey.
I think. Yeah, I'll probably go. I don't know. Actually, I might change mine.
Oh,
It's been incredible.
must be hurting on that fence, surely.
I don't know what to do. I think,
Si, you're getting a few splinters up your
right
arse, mate.
Right in the middle. I think Maddison is probably my favourite at the moment, just because of like he's brought a dimension to us that we haven't seen for a long time. The assists are incredible. The way he glides is incredible. Even that Luton goal, to just be on the edge of that box, and it's almost like everyone's like, "What's he going to do?" And then within like a split second, he's gone. And I haven't seen that in a Tottenham player for a very long time.
Since the North London derby.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that as a principle, but his passing is unreal. Like the way he just like opens up defenses is absolutely amazing. But I just think, as a player of the season, you don't just look at all those individual efforts. Yes, you got a goal as well, or maybe 2. I can't remember. But I think it's just his dimension of his persona, the way he is with the fans, the way he is with the team in general, and the way he celebrates the fans like the rest of the team do. I think he's just galvanized, in addition to the likes of Son, etc., that kind of ethos that Spurs fans wanted for so long. And I think that's why he's my player of the season so far. Absolutely. And I think he's just unbelievable. Even off the ball, I think that's the other big thing. That's the reason I probably picked him over others, is his off the ball movement and what he's doing to direct other players and encourage them as well. So I think he's just about ahead of Van der Ven in my head at the moment.
Ash, do you agree? Is it Maddison, or have you got another name in mind?
Yeah, no, I agree, Maddison. I would have said Basuma, but the sending off kind of pecked it down a little bit. But for me, even off the ball, like him actually winning balls back, the defensive work goes unnoticed as well. The way
very
he
true.
presses to win the ball back, actual tackling as well. he's just leading by example. When you need something special and you need a game changer, Maddison, I'd say his set pieces have let him down a little bit, even though he did set up Romero for that first goal against Brentford before he got taken off, Romero, with a head injury. But in general, he just like sometimes he's the set pace maker, if that makes sense. He dictates the pace at times when
everything goes through him, doesn't it? Everything. So, and even sometimes, so there's two of those goals, one against Arsenal, like Simon's mentioned, and one against Luton. Both of them were on the wing. So then you can call him a left-sided or a right-sided midfielder, because that's where he's creating damage as well. He's not just playing it in the centre and creating from centre. He's creating from all over the pitch. And he's not even just his assist and the fact that he became player of the month in August, but also I think he does the key passes. So yeah, he's getting assists, he's racking up goals, but the key passes aren't getting spoken about as well. So you got to add that to the many things that are getting mentioned about Maddison's name, and also his character. Like his character, I remember when he first came, he had his kids, brought him to the stadium. I thought that was a real nice touch. So that, again, the whole kind of atmosphere, kind of redefining the culture, like giving the mood, things for supporters to kind of be happy about. He was a part of that. He was about as important as Ange for me, because he came in there with a different energy. All the players were like, wow, like, you know, he's come in, saw the facilities, and he's thinking, well, I'm excited. And I think sometimes when you get someone from the outside that has real quality, but is excited as well, and then he's a part of that kind of new, what's it called? That new group, that new leadership group with Son and it's called the New Leadership Group.
Yeah, New Leadership Group, right? So I think that has a massive part of why our team is doing so well and why we've been like looking completely different this season. And even like just about a few hours ago, he links up with his England mates and he's with Trent. And he's like, "Right, Trent still wants a replay." I said, "No, this man's got bats for days." I'm for it. Like madness. I love like a Spurs fan to kind of banter the bigger clubs, you know, or the so-called bigger clubs, because we never get to talk tough and talk wicked to the people above us. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we always need to be in a show. Most of us, even as a fan base, we're quite timid. Like I feel like we're quite needy. Like even like now, we're top of the league.
That's what 15 years out of trophy does to you, Ash.
Bro, but still, like we're still like, or maybe we would, like, do you deserve to be number one the way our fans are talking about us? Like we talk really low. I'm glad Ange is there. I'm glad Maddis is there. And they've got like a higher level thinking where they're thinking, you know what, we could do this. Because if it was up to the fan base, we'd be like, maybe fifth. Yeah, what's this? I thought you tested it. Because these Arsenal fans are talking wicked. Yeah, we're going to beat this team. Yeah, why can't we do that? Why can't we puff out a chest? Why can't we talk wicked?
Because we got PTSD, Ash. We've just seen it crash and burn so many times.
Bro, you hear this? I don't know how to act, guys.
It's because our chest was so puffed out under Pochettino. We knew we were going out onto that pitch and winning every game. But when it come down to it and Pochettino got sacked after the Champions League final, we still hadn't won anything. We're just like, is this ever going to happen?
Yeah, I hear that. It feels like that never-ending story. Like I feel like I'm in Narnia and I'm trying to find my way home, and I'm not sure if I can find my way home. Like, you know, we just won that trophy. That's the thing that's on our back. I think once we get that trophy, that little monkey, Bubbles, when we get Bubbles off our back, then maybe we can start talking a bit more thin. But right now, we just have to be humble. Like, and I do get it. Like every fan's probably saying, "Ash, shh, you haven't played no one yet. Stay calm, because." You know, after January, then maybe, and even in January, watch. In January, we're still going to be meaty. Trust me, we're still going to be like, well, maybe if we don't get any injuries to Maddison, like, bro, come on, man.
That's probably going to the most superstitious person I know in Josh King. Like he's probably watching this, being like, "Don't mention the word title."
But I don't blame us. I understand it because I have it in me as well. It's inside me. But I'm trying to shake it off. It's not easy. It's not easy.
But in terms of player of the season, Sim, you agreeing with James Maddison?
I agree with Ash what he says. If it wasn't for Basuma's red, I probably might have just shaded Basuma, but I think Maddison just hasn't had a bad game. He's been absolutely exceptional from start to finish. He started every game, and it's not just his performances, which have been incredible. I think 7 goal contributions in his first 8 games, stepped up away from home, stepped up in big games as well, 2 assists at the Emirates as well.
No goal contribution at home yet.
No goal contribution at home, but has a need to. Don't need to perform at home. We got it locked down. I think he's performing just so well. And to be fair, 5 of our first 8 games have been away from him anyway. I think he's been better than anyone could have imagined he was going to be in the first 8 games. He's been so consistent as well. It's been near perfect start for Maddison. He's pretty much done everything. He's scored from outside the box. He's got assists from set pieces. He's got assists from through balls. He got a goal against Bournemouth. And not only that, his leadership off the pitch has been exemplary. On and off the pitch has been incredible. He's just been exactly what we needed in Kane's absence. Someone with fresh eyes to really appreciate the job in hand and being a Tottenham Hotspur player. And he's doing that. And he seems to be absolutely loving life as well. And he seems to be taking every challenge as it comes. So I think Maddison probably has been our best player of the season so far. But obviously, I think Van der Ven's not had a bad game. I think he's absolutely been astonishing. Pedro Porro, he deserves a shout because since he's come into the team against Man United, he's been pretty exemplary as well. He's really maybe a shout for most improved player of the season.
Big Vic.
He's been incredible.
Destiny.
Vicario.
Destiny.
You can name the whole team, really. Sonny's had a great start to the season.
The whole team apart from Richarlison, we can say him player of the season.
Probably has a shout. But I think Maddison has a shout for being player of the Premier League season.
That's what I was about to say. I think he's been the best player in the league, never mind Spurs. I mean, he has. Name me one player. First of all, he's got the most goal contributions out of anyone in the Premier League this season. And second of all, name me one player who has performed as consistently well as Maddison in the league this season.
I think Haaland has 8 goals, no?
He's got 9. It's true, he's got 9 contributions.
Who has 9?
Haaland. So Haaland's the only guy.
Haaland's got more, yeah.
But Haaland we don't talk about because he's in a league of his own in terms of goal contributions.
I don't know. Some people might say Rice. Nah.
Oh,
Rice. Basuma's been better than Rice.
Nah, Rice.
He reeled us in.
Rice OP's beat. Yeah.
No, Rice has been top. I think he's been in like the top 3 or 4, but I think Maddison he's been top of the pile in my opinion.
Well, do you think that England, he played for England? Do you think he's going to be played in his right position? Do you think Southgate's going to play him out wide again?
Southgate does not know how to use Maddison whatsoever. He'll probably play him out on the left wing or something. He has no clue, Southgate. I'm sorry, but Southgate needs to stop calling Maddison up.
He has to make room for Jordan Henderson.
Oh, exactly. You know what I mean? It's just it's mental. You look at what Maddison is doing week in, week out in the Premier League, literally putting other teams to shame. Not even offensively, but defensively as well. The way he drops back, the way he wins the ball back time and time again. And Southgate looks at that and he's like, all right, left wing. It's like, what are you doing?
And he's got wingers. It's crazy. He's got wingers in the team. He doesn't know what he's doing. And should just be part-time England manager as well. Would win everything.
Like on Football Manager when you get the international job and you can manage both teams.
Yeah, he would just absolutely win everything, Ange.
And you got to mention Sonny as well. 6 goals this season. Yeah. He's definitely in the conversation for Spurs Player of the Season so far. And it's not just what Sonny gives us on the pitch, it's what he gives us as his leadership qualities as well, because I think he's been Spurs' best captain from what he's shown so far in my lifetime. I don't think we've seen a better captain at Spurs ever since I've been following Spurs, and I put Ledley King in that too. I don't know if you guys agree.
You know what it is with Sonny? I think people expect him to, if not score a goal, get an assist, play well, and I think that's their kind of minimum quota. But I think he does so much off the ball where he allows other players space and time because defenders are either pinned back or they're dropping back. That helps to create gaps all over the pitch. So his running actually just helps the team a bit like the striker for Celtic, how he used to just run constantly up and down. And that will create a lot of room for your wingers and your midfielders, your attacking mids or your 8s, whoever they may be, whether they be centre-backs or full-backs. Do you know what I mean? They have an opportunity to attack because Son's running and he's doing the dirty work. But a lot of people are sleeping on that as well. So I thought that's worth a mention. But yeah, Son definitely, because he's already scored how many goals compared to last season? He's captain.
6. So
He's got 6 this
behind.
season. Exactly, 4 more and he's level.
That's what I'm saying. So he's got to be the most improved player, I think, in Spurs shirt, in my opinion. I think it was a touch of class when he said, "Boys, let's go to the away end. We're going to huddle over there." Do you know what I'm saying? And I think the fans appreciated that love. That was even more connection. That's what we needed as a fan base, ever so much. And I think that was a big, big call from the captain. And like, even the way he is, like you said, off the pitch. I remember, like, it was the Luton game, and Rio Ferdinand called him over, and he had the microphone on his hand, and he was talking on the mic. And the way he put the mic down, he put the mic down so gently. It was like, and then walked away from him. He's such a gentleman, like, you know what I'm trying to say? So not only is he a leader on the pitch, but he's a gentleman off the pitch. He's a great ambassador for Tottenham Hotspur, what we're about. You know what I'm trying to say? So, yeah.
The players react to that as well.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, some captains, like, they get you, like, to work the extra mile because, like, they're just so they're always on you, and they're always, like, not ruthlessly, but they're like passionate, like, right, you know, the classic Roy Keane. He'd always, like, kick everyone up the arse basically when they're not doing their job, kind of thing. But Sonny just does it in a different way, like, because everyone loves him so much, and because he's, like, just the best guy in the dressing room. It's kind of like, I feel like the players, like, don't want to let him down, kind of thing. Yeah. Like, they see him as, like, he's given that responsibility, and, like, he has that respect within the group because he's just so lovable. And I'm sure, like, when the time comes, Son will have to, you know, be a bit hard on some people, but he'll gain respect for that as well. And I just feel like he's just so loved in the camp. Like, players are just, like, desperate to not let him down and, like, run through brick walls for him as well.
Even at the fact that he's allowed himself to come off the pitch, like, he's not kicking up a fuss. Before, what captain would you be able to take off and then he's just, like, passing on the armband to, like, either Maddison or Romero? More times Romero, isn't it? He's doing that armband, but he just does it, like, no qualms. He's just doing it for the team. Like, he's a Koi, Son Koi's, like, 100%. Like, any team that wants him, he's like, nah, I'm not on it. I'm fully Spurs, bro. Don't even look my way. That's what I love Spurs. Like, I think it was the Saudi Arabia team that came for him. I know it's only Saudi Arabia, but the way he just parred them off, like, I just love that. I just feel like, raw, this man is Spurs.
Fully Kois,
yeah.
100%. So I think it's safe to say we're all in agreement that James Maddison has been our player of the season so far, which brings us on to the last topic of the panel. A lot of people are worried to call this guy the Don, Mr. Don Fabio Paratici. Some people still, even now, calling him Con Paratici. So I want to know from you guys, is he got Don Paratici or is he Con Paratici? We'll start off with you, Si. I mean, I can list out the signings that we've signed since he's joined if you want.
So just to clarify, this isn't legally. This is just based on his signings.
All in all, everything together, man. Everything together. You want me? Shall I list out the signings you want to know?
Yeah, give me the, just for everyone's benefit, not just mine, because I don't know this.
So it's gone from Brian Hill, Emerson Royale, Rodrigo Bentancur, Pape Matasar, Cuti Romero, Pierluigi Gallini, Dejan Kulusevski, Richarlison, Bissouma, Udogi, Spence, Porro, Danjuma, Perisic, Forster, Longley, Brennan Johnson, James Maddison, Mickey van der Ven, Vicario, Valise, Solomon and Phillips. And just bear in mind, the game that we played against Luton, bar Sonny, everyone was a Paratici signing. Every single player on that pitch. For me, there's no doubt in my mind that he is Don Paratici, and he has been for a while for me. Pretty much ever since he's joined, I've called him that, to be honest. But I want to know from you guys, Si, what do you think? Has he had he must be had an amazing tenure at Spurs so far. That's got to be the narrative, surely.
Absolutely. I think it's been so many years since we've had that proper leadership and a recruitment perspective. I think the one agitation I had particularly was around Destiny when we loaned him back. There was obviously an agreement between the clubs, but having watched him a lot, I was so excited to see him kind of like, oh, I've got to wait another season. And even with Pape Sarr as well. So, you know, just for those two, and to have the patience to go, we found these guys, we think they're going to be really good for Spurs, and they're going to fit in this certain way, but we have to wait a year, which is quite incredible, really. You know, obviously in all those lists and in any director of football recruitment or chief of recruitment list, there's always going to be some duds in there. You can't get it like 100% correct. Absolutely. And I think we know some of those traffic cones that are listed on there just haven't come at all. But I think the overall factor is that he brought in some players at significant times. If you remember, Bentancur, obviously, Kulu came in at the same time and at a very good, convenient time as we were making our onslaught for the top four. Granted, obviously, injuries and things in the season after, but it's absolutely incredible to have had that, perhaps that networking capability that he had. I don't know who did the negotiations or whatever, but it was kind of a rewarding factor in the sense that all the years that we've had targets and things, and yeah, of course, we've missed out on loads as well. Like I said, everyone, you can't get it 100%. But it was, majority of it was backed. And it was whether it was paid for immediately or paid for in installments or the next year, somehow he managed to get away with that. The job was done. And it was a terrible shame to have been pulled up about the Juventus business that was going on, of course, because I think that having that continuation would have been absolutely incredible. But now, obviously, we're seeing this transition period again with some new delegates coming in to oversee this recruitment process. I don't know the ins and outs of whether Paratici is coming back or whether he's completely gone or not at this moment in time, but whether he has an influence or not, I'm sure he does to an extent. Hopefully, possibly does. I think credit is due, in this instance. Like, it's been absolutely phenomenal to see some of these players, and particularly what's really interesting for me and the exciting factor is, again, back to those like Pochettino era of when he first began. I can't remember his name, who's in charge of recruitment back then, but it was that ethos of we need to build a crop of players under 25.
Paul Mitchell,
I think it was, yeah. That crop of players under 25 that we know that have a very good ability now, that can listen, understand the game, know what we need to do, how we need to play, but that development process of 5 years, 6 years, that ticks the box probably in Daniel Levy's mind to understand that there's a profit opportunity there if we need to. But most cases now in the last few seasons, the critical players have been re-signed and given contracts, which is a good sign. But I think he has to go down as one of our best recruitment individuals, certainly in my, like you said, Ben, in my Spurs life. I know there's been more in the past. Frank Arneson, when he first began, was very, very good. Kamoli obviously brought in a significant amount of world-class players that came phenomenally expensive over that time. And I think since then, it's been a bit touch and go. A lot of clubs have come in with more money saying, oh, their recruitment's good, let's nick them off Spurs. And it's always been that way. But I think it was the first time we got something right, albeit we had to be a bit patient. As I said, some of those players didn't come in immediately, but I think he has to go down as an incredible asset. Whether he's still there or not is no question. But that list is phenomenal. The players that are there, it just needed the manager, in my opinion. It needed the manager and the style of play, the identification of that to make these players really stand out. So full credit, I think.
Ash, Con, or Don?
Overall, Don, but I was a bit iffy about the whole Nuno appointment. Wasn't too sure about that one.
His managerial calls haven't been the best, let's be honest. I mean, he tried to get Gattuso in. Who else did he try and get in? I can't remember, because there were so many names that were thrown into the hat at that stage, and you're thinking about all of them, and just like, yeah, I'm not too sure about this. But in terms of player recruitment, I don't think we could have asked for much more.
Yeah, player recruitment wise, I think the majority of players, I'd say there was a few howlers in there, but in overall, I think he did quite well. Like, I think he's done. It's proven now that your doggy, that was a great find. And for the amount of money that we spent on that kid, I just thought it was remarkable business. Looking at, obviously at the time, that January window when we got, like Sai said, when we got Kulusevski and Bentancur, wow, that's what I can say, wow. That completely transformed our season. Fast forward to the next January window, Dan Juma, it's a hard one because the fan base was split. Some players were like, oh, he's a great player. Others were like, it's not doing enough. But then you just look at Conte. Did Conte really want him? I don't. At some point, I felt like it was a bit fragmented because I didn't know if it was a Levy signing, a Paratici signing, or if it was a Conte signing, or if all three of them agreed, because it just wasn't marrying up. That January wasn't really working. in our favor. Even when it comes to like players like Jed Spence, like I didn't really understand because I know Paratici went down to watch him, but then Conte was like, "Oh, it's a club signing." So he has got a few question marks on a few decisions. Like, what was that all about? Do you know what I mean? But again, that was to do with not just him; it's to do with the club. You can't just take the full blame on that one, in my opinion. But like going back to what I said, overall, like he's done amazing work. Do we count this season as well for the players that have come in? I mean,
I'm kind of counting everything where he's been involved. So this summer he was involved in an advisory role. So I'm still like putting him as credit as part of the work. I don't know if he was as involved as he was before, but he was still involved to a certain extent.
I think he was, because I think he would have been around that scouting network where he would have been around certain areas to kind of recruit certain players.
Don't tell me Vicario. He had nothing to do with Vicario. You know what I mean?
You put the words out of my mouth. I was like, literally, I think that was his signing. Vicario that's got a Paratici all over it. I know the scout Gabardini he was Italian as well.
Yeah.
So I know, the two that married, so people could say it's Gabardini, but I still think Paratici had a lot to do with that. And a lot of the players that we got were from Serie A, and we know that was his territory. Do you know what I'm saying? That's where he shopped, and that's where we got some of our best business from, in my opinion. Basuma was a stroke of genius, in my opinion. I don't know who was behind that one, but I just think what a signing. That was brilliant, and he was a part of that. So my hat goes off to him. I know Perisic it was a mixed bag, because we had Perisic of the first season, but the way he started this season, like, as a winger, like what a blow! What a blow! If we still have Perisic, like especially for Richarlison. Oh, that's the type of winger. So to go back to it, that's what I'm talking about. Someone with raw pace that can whip balls. Like we could be doing something special, lads. I'm not kidding around here, man. I think people are sleeping on some giants. I think we're going to be some giants, yeah? We're going to be able to talk. I can't wait, but we're not there yet. I'll admit it. I'll come back into my show and say, look, you need time.
Say it. What did you say, Ash, before? Say it with chest. Say it with chest.
Not yet. I'm itching. I'm a realist at the same time. I'm a realist. But
Don, yeah?
Yeah, Donny. I call him a Donny. He's a Donny.
All right. Sim, like, when you're looking at the signings that he has made, you got to say that he's done such great work. Kind of when you look at the future of Tottenham Hotspur, you're looking at a lot of the players he signed. When you're looking at Rodrigo Bentancur, Pape Matar, Cuti Romero, Dejan Kulusevski, Bissouma, Udogie, Porro, Brennan Johnson, James Maddison, Mickey van de Ven, Vicario, Valise, Ashley Phillips. I mean, future's looking good. And you got to say, it's all down to the work that Paratici, or a lot down to the work that Paratici has done.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, for Brennan Johnson, do I think Paratici was involved in that? I don't know. It's hard to say. It's impossible to say, because he wasn't our official sporting director, but he was in an advisory role, consultancy role at that point. So I'm sure he was definitely involved in a lot of our business, but to know which ones exactly he was involved with is hard to say. But especially during his time when he was the official sporting director at Spurs, I think he did fantastic work in the transfer market. And I think more often than not, he was getting things right, and he built for the future really, really well. And that was something we'd been missing for a long time. We neglected the youth, especially under Mourinho. We completely neglected young players at that time. We have people like Matt Doherty and Carlos Vinicius and Bale on loan, and regular.
Didn't he give Tanganga his debut? Big old Jaff.
Yeah, he gave Tanganga his debut, but it was few and far between when it came to promoting younger players. The only gripe I had with Paratici was how he went about the managerial searches, because I did think he continually went for the wrong kind of manager for Tottenham. Not just for Tottenham, but the wrong manager to kind of use the signings he had made, like Sarr and Udogie and these kind of young players. He appointed managers who weren't going to play them, who were never going to use them, who wanted more experienced, established players. And to be fair,
would you blame him for the Conte one as well? Because he knows Conte better than anyone, and he knows what Conte needs to go and win.
I don't. Do I blame him for bringing Conte? And obviously, he definitely holds responsibility for it. But I feel like at that time, we were in a crisis. and we were so desperate for a manager to just come and shake things up. Like, if we didn't get Conte at that time, we potentially would have been in a relegation battle that season, I think. If we didn't get Conte, I think Nuno could have taken us down the way we were playing. I really believe that. I think he could have taken us down. So we were in a crisis. Everyone was playing shocking. So I don't blame him for like. At the
But he won his first 3 games, Nuno. We're top of the league.
Yeah, you can see how we were playing. We could barely get a shot on target. We could barely get a shot, let alone a shot on target. I think we would have been in a relegation battle if something wasn't done, drastic wasn't done. So Conte was the drastic thing. So I understand that appointment. Maybe what we should have done is just ended it after 6 months and get top 4 and then gone our separate ways and built a different project. At the end of the day, we all got overexcited about what we could do. Maybe we thought Conte was could have been a long-term thing, but it obviously turned out wasn't going to happen. But the managerial appointments he did go for, like Nuno, as he nearly went for Gattuso, they weren't appointments for me which should have been not only the ethos of Tottenham, but also players to bring through the younger talent he was signing. So I think he did great work identifying talent, but then I don't think he did well enough when it came to kind of giving that talent a platform to build on, like we're seeing now. Like, I don't know how much of a say he had in the Postecoglou appointment, and what if he was kind of heading that, or was that purely a Daniel Levy choice? It's hard for me to say. But when it comes to purely signings and the talent he's brought through and upgraded, first of all, lower the average age of the squad, and then brought through talent that we can look to the future and say, look, we can have a serious team for many, many years because of how young these players are and how well they're doing and on a consistent basis now in the Premier League. I think he did a fantastic job, and clearly he's got a really good eye for talent, and that's obvious to me. But I just feel like maybe marrying that with a whole structure to allow that talent to shine. Maybe he was kind of, all he knew was Juventus, and that was all about winning now and building a platform with a lot of experienced players year on year to kind of consistently stay at the top, and that wasn't where Tottenham were at, and maybe that's kind of.
But I think he knew his remit wasn't kind of to win now with the likes of the players that he was bringing in. He was bringing in young talent that was going to flourish in the future.
Yeah, but he brought in the talent, I feel like he didn't know what to do with the talent a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Like the manager appointments were wrong for the talent he brought in.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. But I think like where we're at right now, you got to say a big thanks to Fabio Paratici for where we are at right now, and maybe it was always that kind of long-term vision.
Yeah,
I feel like Levy loves him. I honestly think so, because the way
if he didn't, he would have dropped him like an absolute fly when all that madness was going on.
No, facts, because he's in the consultancy role right now, and even like they're talking about this Johan Lange, Big Lange, I call him. My guy, is still having Paratici in a consultancy role. What does that tell you? That he properly rates him, and even he hasn't got the same amount of power as Paratici did. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Even that for me, he's brought in as a technical director where he's looking at data analytics slightly more. So for me, like that just puts again Paratici on another level. And going back to what Sim said, structurally, I think like what he's done for the club. Like I remember he made bus or something, like he changed the bus.
He got the branded bus, and
he made them wear like Hugo Boss suits. Like he was trying to change everything, and I think Levy saw that and was like, "Whoa, this guy!" And that's some of the things that we read about. I wonder what happened, what we didn't read about, what he was doing. I'm trying to say.
It was a branded bus and Hugo Boss suits to go out of the Conference League in the group stages.
No one less will mention that.
Well, it's all about the mentality. I think the mentality shift and the attitude. Because we really wanted Conte. We didn't go for him, or Conte denied us, and then we went for Nuno. And then I think he lost it. I think Paratici, I see him going, man, like, and then kind of like I told you so, we need Conte. And then I think he was the one that kind of brought Conte back in. And by the time, it lifted the club because everyone was singing Conte's name. Let's not get twisted. You man had the T-shirts, Italian. I remember. You probably still got.
We've got 2 boxes full of them.
You want it? You want one, Ash? You want one free charge?
So let's not get twisted. When he first came, everyone was Antonio. Like the club, we thought we were winners because also even the rival fans are like, oh, they might not be Spurs anymore because the mentality shift is a little bit different. They were scared. we actually had a big time manager, and even the Chelsea fans were like, "Raw, I think we've done it." Like Mourinho was a bit washed, but Conte was still in. Yeah, so I think that was the remit for Paratici at the time. He was trying to get, like Sim was saying, like a win now, but we weren't kind of like a win now type of club. That was the problem. So yeah, that's just my thing on it.
All right. So I think we all agree he's Don Paratici, and I, for one, are very happy that he's staying on in a consultancy role, because not only because of the players he has in, but also the way he can assist maybe Lange and the new scout that's going to come in with the contacts he does have in the game, because the contacts that he has, absolutely second to none. So I think brilliant stuff, but that does bring an end to the panel show. Sai, Ash, thank you so much for coming on today. But do you want to let the people know where they can find you, Sai?
Either in my living room here, or you can find
Where
me...
is that? Where is that? So
Home
people
address
can
with the
knock on the door.
Down near the coast. Down near the coast, but leading on to a quick point, actually, just want a big shout out to our Portsmouth official Spurs club. There's a big number of us down here now, and we've got 2 minibuses that go up to every game.
Come
now.
on.
So the team are doing incredible down there. Brad, who drives one of them, uses A to Z maps, so it takes a bit longer. The other guy, Lee, and the rest of the team are much faster, so I tend to try and go on their bus if we do come up. So big shout out, and obviously recommend to anyone out there across the regions of the UK to look out for your own individual Spurs clubs. It's absolutely awesome community build. Great to be with like-minded people and share those experiences in local pubs and things, as well as coming to the games. The club does some really cool stuff with them as well. So big shout out to that. And obviously, if you are interested in crypto and all the nonsense fan tokens that are shouting about, come and join me on the Wells of Wall Street. Other than that, thank you.
All right, big up, Sai. Ash, where can the people find you, and what's going on Southview Coys? Well, I just told them where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Southview Coys TV. What's going on? We're doing a little Rivals show tonight. So if anyone wants to jump on, let me know. I'm trying to get like not just Arsenal, but Man U fans, Chelsea, Liverpool, you name it. Even West Ham fans, I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying?
Give them some shit tonight, Ash. Give them some
yeah,
shit.
Man, I will, man. Like I was making notes when you guys were saying your pieces. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use that one. Yeah. Definitely, yeah. Put that in their face too. Yeah, we're top of the league. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, if you want to tune in, make sure you jump on. And every Tuesday, we kind of break it down. Like last night, we did. I went back to the Poch days. That's why I brought it up. I actually did some bits on Poch. So I'm trying to go a bit old school and relive some of those Spurs moments as well. But we take a deeper dive as well on players that we could get in certain positions according to like ID talent and youth and data analytics and what we need, man. That's the show basically. But yeah, man, that's where you can find me.
All right, everyone, go and subscribe to Wells of Wall Street and Southview Coys TV. That is us over and out. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.